In the meantime, the national president of the Natural Oil and Gas Suppliers Association of Nigeria, NOGASA, and Petroleum Products Retail Outlet Owners Association of Nigeria and Nigerian Association of Road Transport Owners have declared their intention to join the industrial action announced by the Nigerian Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers. The Petroleum Tanker Drivers Branch of NUPENG had declared a strike over Dangote Refinery's plan to deploy 4,000 compressed natural gas-powered trucks for direct fuel distribution. Speaking on Monday, the president of NOGASA, Bennett Corrie, directed suppliers of petroleum products to end users such as telecom communication sites, hotels, and construction companies, among others, to stop supplies by 9 a.m. on Tuesday if the dialogue initiated by the federal government fails. And now to discuss this development, we are joined by oil and gas analyst Suraj Oyewale and public affairs analyst Moses Idika. You're welcome, Suraj and Moses. Thank you for joining us this evening. Would like to know, what are the immediate and long-term implications of the NUPENG strike on Nigeria's downstream oil sector, particularly fuel distribution and retail operations? Let's start with you, Suraj.
How are you doing?
Very fine, thank you.
Yeah, nice talking to you again.
Grand.
That is very critical to the Nigerian economy because that's the sector where everybody tends to interface with, because that's the, we have upstream where oil production happens, and we have downstream where oil consumption happens. They are like the last mile supplier of these products to everybody, the businesses, individuals, and everybody that uses these few products. So they are very, very critical to the economy. All businesses, a lot of businesses depend on them, whether at industrial scale, whether at domestic, scale, big scale, large scale. Everybody depends on all these petroleum products in a way. So when such a very, very important subsector of the economy is crippled as a result of the down-tooling by members of the staff unions of such sector, then it's going to have a big effect on everybody. And one major effect is that, of course, we expect to be some disruption in supplies because a lot of things depend on this. The guy that does barbing in the nearest streets is probably not going to get the fuel to power his operations. The bigger guys, the hotels that rely heavily on the PMS or diesel to power their operations, also going to be affected. Large organizations, the one that affects everybody, transport. Okay, when these transporters do not have the fuel to power their transportation vehicles, then you can't do anything. So it's such a very, very critical sector to Nigerians, and I believe that everything that needs to be done to avert this, this impending industrial action should be done by government. To all parties should come to the table and make sure that this is done, to ensure that we don't have a situation of that tooling of it, because otherwise it's perhaps the most important sector of Nigerian economy at this time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Suraj. Moses, let's talk about the stakeholders. There's so many of them. Pengasan, NOGASA, DAPMAN. Which key stakeholders are affected by this strike, and how should their competing interests be balanced in this negotiation process?
Well, good evening. Thank you for having me.
Yes, indeed. Go ahead.
You see that we are back on the trail again. The issue really is that Nigerian government and our regulatory agencies do not take action. They don't take preventive actions until at the last minute, because NUPENG, NATO, and the rest of them, they had earlier given notice of this strike. And it seems it was only about 24 hours to the strike that the federal government decided to start negotiation with them. And that has been the practice with Nigerian government over the years. They don't take preventive action, they don't take proactive action until the situation gets to the point of a do or die, as a former president would say. However, the greater implication of this is the new industrial revolution, I would call it. Now is CNG trucks, and soon it's going to become robots. Robots may one day try to replace workers. The issue is how is both the unions and the government, how are they planning to mitigate these new threats to kinetic industrial practices that we used to know. Again, when you look at the implication of this, like my colleague there discussed, you find out that this is a sector that affects every possible aspect of our life in Nigeria. And for that reason, a government that is serious, a union that is serious, should look ahead and anticipate some of these things and put in place. They should be pushing new bills, new laws in the National Assembly, sensitizing their members, dialoguing with the owners of the factories and industries to ensure that in the plan of, for example, a Dangote Refinery, the plight of the workers, the drivers would be taken into consideration as the companies expand. The fire brigade approach that we have taken, that has become a culture in Nigeria, is not helping matters. So it's because both the workers themselves and the government, they fail to plan. That is why we are in this situation right now.
Okay, then.
And I think that they should come together and look at the way forward, not just for the immediate time, but for times to come.
All right, then. Well, Moses, I'm still going to come back to you if we still have time. But Suraj, can you quantify the expected loss in production or maybe even distribution capacity per day if the strike proceeds nationwide?
PMS, which is the most important and the most diverse, the most available, and the most generally consumed petroleum product is PMS, which is petrol that everybody uses, and we're talking about 30 million liters that is consumed, officially consumed daily in Nigeria. I mean, imagine somebody putting a stop to that kind of fuel supply, PMS supply alone. That's going to have a large effect. We're talking about billions in naira, perhaps trillions, on the economy if you are able to get that. And that is just even the direct, the direct quantified volume of fuel that is going to affect. They're not talking about the ripple effects, okay? The guy selling, everybody that depends, businesses depend on all of these things. Then, you're going to have a lot of it. So we're talking about billions in naira daily loss as a result of this if it proceeds.
Thank you, Suraj. Moses, we still have time, so I'm coming back to you. So Moses, do you think that this strike could be interpreted as maybe a bargaining strategy instead of a breakdown in negotiations? What do you think?
Yeah, it's definitely a bargaining strategy, but I'm thinking that the NUPENG members and other stakeholders within the sector should, as a matter of urgency, begin to know what to do next. Because eventually the strike is going to be cut off. There's going to be a middle ground. But after the middle ground, what happens? Dangote already placed orders for those 4,000 trucks, CNG trucks. Whether anybody likes it or not, those trucks are going to come into Nigeria and they are going to go into operation. After this initial stop, what is going to happen? Some other refineries may come on stream and they must also toe that line. You know that they can as well soon, the rail system will become more operational across Nigeria. And of course, that is going to diminish the number of trucks we have on our major highways because like it used to be, people will start loading from designated depots. So for that, there must be a proactive action from the unions to ensure the protection of the rights and jobs of their members. So I think they should look beyond this strike and think ahead to secure the future of their members.
All right, then. Suraj, Moses, I want to say thank you very much for joining us to have this conversation. Thank you.